Greetings, Poke fans! Michael here. A couple weeks ago, I made a video showing you guys this book. A book that I made as a kid that has over 150 fake Pokemon in it, gym leaders, the Elite Four, the entire region map, everything, all of which I came up with as a kid. And in that video, I go over it, show off all the Pokemon, talk through it, and stuff like that. That video, which if you haven't seen, you can watch by a click or tapping in the upper right-hand corner there, was a much bigger hit than I was expecting, having gotten over 200,000 views and generating a lot of really fun fan discussions of what their favorite Pokemon are. There was lots of really great fan art of several Pokemon and more. Since that video was a lot of fun for me and a lot of fun for a lot of you guys, I decided to keep that going, and therefore that resulted in this top 10 video. The top 10 fake Pokemon made by me, but chosen by you. I thought it would be kind of odd if I chose them myself, so I wanted you guys to pick, which I thought would be perfect since there was a lot of really great fan interaction from the past video. So what I did was I had a Twitch stream where I had several of you guys pick what would be on the list. How we did it was I had one Google form where you can nominate 5 Pokemon, and then I got all of the different Pokemon from that list, put them into one list, and then people would choose 3 of their favorites from that list. And then the Pokemon that got the most votes, the 10 Pokemon that got the most votes, ended up here on this list for the top 10. And to even further the fan interaction for this video, I wanted to include a lot of fan art of these fake Pokemon. So I want to give a huge thank you to everyone who sent me fan art for these Pokemon, whether the art ended up in the video or not. Also, one thing to keep in mind before commenting on this video is that I came up with these Pokemon a long time ago. So before you accuse them of being rip-offs of existing Pokemon, just know that either 1, I created these Pokemon before the official Pokemon ever existed, or I was a only sometimes creative 10-year-old. So be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And without further ado, here are the top 10 fake Pokemon made by me, but chosen by you. Number 10, Cubbolt. So this slot was actually a tie between Cubbolt and Spoush, with both of them getting the exact same number of votes in the final Google form. So to break that tie and any other ties here on this list, I did a simple Twitter poll. Cubbolt is one of my fake Pokemon that I still like to this day, even having the protagonist of my fake region, Luke Champoni, get one on his team. Probably a large reason why I like it is because it's pretty similar to Luxray, and I love Luxray, so makes sense. Cubbolt and its evolution Shadolt are both electric dark type, which I think is really cool, but one interesting tidbit about it that I had actually forgotten about until I was making this video is that Cubbolt's electricity is black, which is incredibly badass, so self-high five for that. Number 9, Tidin. Tidin is the fully evolved water starter from my region, but I didn't include it in my old fake starter Pokemon video because I wasn't confident that I could draw it well. But thankfully, a lot of you guys can draw it really well because oh my gosh does this thing look cool now. A fun fact about Tidin here is that it was created due to my amusement with puns because Tidin is a literal sea lion created many years before Pyroar or, well, Poplio. Admittedly, I like Tidin a lot more than I used to because the fan response to it has been so positive, so I'm quite pleased with myself that it ended up being so cool. Number 8, Pristorix. Pristorix is one of my favorite Pokemon that I created in this book. First off, it's a prehistoric Pokemon based off the Archaeopteryx, made many years before Archeops existed, and I really think the Archaeopteryx is cool, so that's part of the reason why I like it. But the main reason I like Pristorix is because of its design gimmick, I guess. Normally its feathers are completely pure white, but when they're exposed to sunlight, they turn a spectacular rainbow coloring, hence the Prism part of its name. That's just a really cool thing that I'm still proud that I created to this day, and I'm really glad to see that you guys liked it as well. Number 7, Pengon. I will always be able to brag that I created a penguin-based starter Pokemon several years before Piplup existed, so, Gotta toot my own horn for that. However, Pengon is a fire type, not a water type, and from the outside looking in, that doesn't make any sense. But the story behind it is that one of my parents suggested making a fire type Pokemon based on a Pokemon that seems like it'd be the complete opposite of fire, so a Pokemon that really liked water. Therefore, a fire-type penguin Pokemon was created. I do think it's cool that Pengon ended up here on the list, since I thought a lot of people would just be like, that's a Piplup ripoff, who gives a crap about it? And while its evolutions aren't as great, I think, especially Emperor, since it's a complete Blaziken ripoff, I think it's cool that Pengon has captured the hearts of many of you with its adorableness, which I do have to admit, it is very cute. Number 6, Hornet. Hornet is a Pokemon that I really wasn't expecting to end up here on the list, but looking back on it, a big, super strong, angry, aggressive, bug-fighting monster thing that will rip you to shreds with no remorse, that's pretty badass, so that makes sense. Hornet was created with the idea that it would be the stereotypical scary monster Pokemon you run into in the forest that then comically chases the main cast, like Beedrill or Ursaring. However, I took that to the next level because Hornet is a huge monster that running from would be quite difficult. Also, apparently it can lift more than 400 pounds, which, looking back on it, I would probably make that weight larger, but maybe not since Pokedex numbers don't really make any sense anyways. Number 5, Aqua. Not only was Titan popular with you guys, that whole evolutionary line was popular, since Aqua, the basic water starter for my region, is here at the number 5 slot. Aqua is, like Pengon, based on the idea of taking a creature that normally hates something and seems like it'd be the opposite of it, and combining it and making it embrace it, since the stereotype of cats is that they really hate water. So I took Aqua and made it an aquatic cat. I've really loved the fan responses to this Pokemon though, since there's been a lot of really cute art of Aqua that looks a lot better than the original art, so it's made me like it more than I used to as well. Also, Aqua probably wouldn't trigger my cat allergy since it doesn't have fur or dander, so if it was real, I might get one myself. Number 4, Alpaca. Alpaca is a dark horse, well, I guess dark llama on this list. I could not believe it got as many votes as it did. I never really saw any fan art of it, I never saw any discussions of people liking it, so it really took me by surprise that it ended up on this list, especially that it ended up so high on this list. My personal opinion on Alpaca is that I think it's an alright Pokemon. As a kid, I wanted to make a flying type that wasn't a bird, and since there had never been a llama Pokemon before, I decided to make a flying llama Pokemon. Alpaca came about because Flyma, the original flying llama Pokemon, needed an evolution, and obviously the logical thing to do when a Pokemon evolves is to make it bigger and give it horns and an extra pair of legs. Also, one thing I wanted to note about Alpaca is that it is pure flying type. I've always thought it was dumb that a lot of flying type Pokemon were normal flying. They should just be pure flying. They're birds. So the flying type Pokemon that I created were pure flying. Number 3, Scotch. Scotch is a Pokemon I was not expecting to see on this list because it is literally just a pool noodle with a face. Like, it was the first Pokemon I created for this book after an afternoon of being at the pool and riding around a yellow pool noodle pretending it was an animal, and then I decided to make it into a Pokemon. It's a pool noodle with a face, but apparently you guys really like that. Scotch is yellow simply because that's the color of the original pool noodle, and it's water type because it's a pool noodle. And its name comes from, well, honestly, I have no idea why I decided to name it Scotch, but do know that it comes from the tape brand, not from the alcohol. Looking back on it, I personally think Scotch is a very silly Pokemon, but I can kind of see why people like it because it is pretty cute, and being cute will let you get away with a lot of odd design premises. Number 2, Grizzard. I'm personally thrilled that Grizzard was so high on this list because it's my favorite of the starters I made. It was the only starter that I kept exactly the same for the My Fake Starter Pokemon video, and the protagonist Luke Champoni had one. And as I mentioned with Cubbold, if I really liked one of my fake Pokemon, I had Luke get one. I love the idea of a flying lizard that has non-retractable claws that can turn into vines to grab things and throw them with, or they can turn into big glowing blades for a leaf blade attack. I think that's so cool, and I still do, and it just makes me really happy that you guys liked it as well. Number 1, Zeburn. Zeburn won the vote in an incredible landslide. It had double the votes that Grizzard did, which kind of blew me away, because I knew people liked Zeburn, but I didn't realize this many people liked Zeburn. I created Zeburn because zebras are my favorite animals, and at the time, there was no zebra Pokemon. Zebstrika would be revealed many years later. So I decided to make my own, except I made mine a fire type. Zeburn also has some really cool aspects of it that can't really be displayed in art as well, so I'll tell you about them, but Zeburn's stripes will glow white hot when it gets angry, and also it can set its hooves on fire, making for some pretty powerful blaze kick attacks. Also, Luke had one on his team, which, as I said before, if I liked a Pokemon, I gave it to Luke, so I've always thought Zeburn was a really cool Pokemon, and it makes me really happy that so many of you guys thought the same. So there we have it. Those are the top 10 fake Pokemon made by me, but chosen by you. This was a really fun video for me to make since I really loved the fan community interaction with it, and I would like to make similar videos in the future. What did you think of this video? Do you agree with the list? What are some of your personal favorite fake Pokemon that I came up with? Let me know in the comments below! And if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, helps me out a lot, and if you haven't already, you should definitely subscribe for more fun Pokemon content of all kinds. Also, if you enjoy my content here, you should check out my content in other places. My second channel, Groth, my Twitch channel where we do lots of fun live streams, and my Patreon where you can get cool exclusive behind the scenes perks by helping support me. Links to all of these things are down in the description below. Alright, that's all I have for now. So till next time, big fans, gotta catch them all!